Hello, I am Joshua,
And I'm Jacob.
and Andrew is not here today for reasons undisclosed. Uh, I recently picked up Infamous Second Son for the PS4. In fact, let's see here. The time of this recording is March 22nd.
21st. It is 22nd. Come
Yep.
on. Yep.
So, Second Son actually just came out yesterday, and I've already completed a full playthrough, Hero. So, for those of you who are watching our Infamous playthrough, I was not a dick this time. I'll
Yet.
be a dick next time in that game. And just to start with some opening remarks, I think Infamous Second Son is a game that was put together very, very well. Um, oh, and just as a warning, I will be spoiling some minor details here, like how many powers there are and slight things with regard to the plot, but otherwise, not too much. I'm not gonna get into the details of the plot. I'm just gonna imply things happen. But yeah, so far I really like this game. Takes place in Seattle, and you have four powers to choose from. There's smoke, neon, video, and concrete. And I think that Sucker Punch did a really good job of balancing the powers because each one specializes in its own area. For example, neon is really good at long range. Concrete hits like a truck but is slow. Um, Jacob, what did you think of the powers?
Um, Definitely like video. It's like they remind me of I don't know, just making fun of Sonic Colors and when Mario's invincible,
Mm-hmm.
Rainbow Mario. um, yeah. There was a definite like focus for each power. Like you said, power was for concrete, precision for neon, stealth for video,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess smoke's mostly your like all around kind of.
Yeah,
But I
I'd say
think
more combat oriented just because it,
yeah,
it arguably has the fastest rate of fire when it comes to actually hammering R2.
yeah.
Yeah, with concrete and video, you actually get bursts like machine gun bursts.
Well, I felt like the concrete was more of like a three shot burst, and
Hmm.
the video was almost kind of like a light machine gun,
Yeah,
kind of.
more or less.
Yeah.
And then, let's see here. Then smoke would be the sniper
Mm,
rifle.
You mean neon sniper rifle?
Sorry, neon's the sniper
There you
rifle, yes.
go.
And smoke is maybe a very nice handgun.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're also pretty distinct when it comes to traversal. For example, smoke is really good when it comes to going up vertically. If you just go through a vent, you can do that in neon, but with certain vents, it's just faster to just go into the vent as opposed to running up the building.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on downtown Seattle.
Video's pretty decent for both.
Hmm.
Um,
At least video lets you fly horizontally.
yeah. And then lets you go up vertically on buildings. So
Hmm. Yep. And let's see here, what else? I thought the karma bombs were really nice. Concrete is the only power that does not have a karma bomb.
DLC.
Maybe. Pick up the limited edition since I pre-ordered, but also I haven't played through Cole's Legacy yet, but I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just there are some details in the game that imply that there were other powers, so I don't know, maybe Sucker Punch might introduce some DLC that gives Delson more access to different powers. They mentioned glass, paper, um, among
Paper gets set
others.
on fire. Game over.
Smoke is your one weakness. But it is nice to see that you actually do interact with all of the conduits that give Delson his powers.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
smoke is you get smoke first, then neon, then video, and then concrete for the final boss.
it's nice.
Okay.
Well, I like that they took the multiple powers approach. I mean, it was all fine and dandy to use Troll McGrath for just spamming lightning everywhere,
Uh huh.
but gives you a little more variety,
Definitely.
and it makes you kind of choose what you want according to your playstyle, which you use more. So
Yep. I thought that the button remapping actually, was a good move
yeah,
because back in the first two Infamous games, you kind of need to go into the over-the-shoulder view before you could use the special weapons like the shockwave, the
yeah,
megawatt hammer, the grenade. Yeah, here you don't have to. L1 is the grenade, if you can call it that.
okay.
R1 is the missile. The regular shot is just R2, and you don't have to zoom in or go into an over the shoulder mode to use those. You can just use them at the regular camera view. So I
So
thought that
like
was a really nice
free aim,
touch.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
It pretty much kind of reminded me with the button layout of Ground Zeroes again, how
Oh
they
yeah,
switched it.
yeah.
But
But to me it didn't take that much getting used to. I mean, what did you think about the?
I liked it. I mean,
Hmm.
since the DualShock 4 has better L2 and R2 triggers,
Oh,
it
so much
felt
so.
really nice and streamlined to use it.
Hmm.
Um, and I guess I like that the like your running was like circle
Hmm. Oh yeah, the dash.
the dash. Yeah,
You can dash endlessly in Neon if you're. I think you have to be a hero to do that, but that's really fun. I mean, I use that all the time.
yeah. And I guess you don't jump spam as much as you did in the first one.
Yeah,
You could still do it, but
yeah. To me, it was harder to jump spam because pressing X while you're in midair triggers your thrusters this time.
yeah.
So yeah, that was new, and it actually made me be patient about climbing. Speaking of which, you don't. I found myself not really climbing that often just because I had neon and
Well,
smoke.
yeah, smoke definitely helped a lot. I
Hmm.
mean, they helped with those little rails, the electric rails for coal,
Hmm.
but I mean, there's like smoke vents all over the place.
Yeah. For fast traversal, I find myself using neon quite a bit. Video maybe, smoke not so much. Smoke if is I only use smoke if I want to get to the top of a building really quickly. Okay. And there were a few gimmicks in the game that I wasn't expecting, but were nice touches. For example, you can act well. Since Delson is a street artist, you get to vandalize Seattle
I like that. It,
using
it
a DualShock
actually
4.
it actually worked with the controller.
Hmm.
Um, Gave you a nice like unique thing to actually use the gimmick of the controller.
Hmm. Do
So
something in line with Delson's character.
yeah,
Yeah, you actually have to hold it sideways using either L2 or R2 as your spray button,
or you
depending on
could
which
be
hand
like
you
me and
use.
be lame and just hold it normally, and then just hold R2 and just move the controller.
Uh huh. Yeah, so I thought that was a really nice touch. I mean, just to keep in line with what Delson is.
I also really like that you can use the touchpad to absorb powers too.
Hmm.
So you don't have what was it L2 in the first
Yes,
game.
yes.
So it just removes a button because it's like in the middle. So I mean it's really close to your thumbsticks.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's
and
really nice.
and your energy does recharge differently depending on what source you drain. For
Yeah.
example, if you're next to a really big neon sign, then you'll fill up all of your neon missiles. Oh, one more thing. In Infamous Second Son, you actually get a set number of missiles now. It's not dependent on how much energy you have.
No more megawatt hammer spam for you.
Oh, that was probably intentional, actually. It was way too easy to do that in the first game.
Well, that and you can't charge objects like you could before, can
No, you
you?
can't. No, that's very
That
true.
that like broke the game.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Charge dead bodies with electricity? No problem.
I need a battery. First, I'll kill him, then I'll drain him, then I'll waste all my energy, then I'll charge him up, then I'll drain him again.
Or you'll just use Zeke because he's immortal unless you throw him off a building.
Yay!
uh,
But yeah, if you're next to a big neon sign, you'll recharge all your missiles and all of your neon. But if you're next to, say, an open sign, you'll only recharge one missile and maybe half of your meter.
yeah, that's a nice touch. I
Hmm.
mean, when I tried the game, it was I was trying to just find random stuff because like no matter how new a game is, it's still you could still find glitches relatively simply in some of these.
We
So
found
like
one today, actually.
there is one where you can use the shockwave pretty much move from
Yeah,
the first Infamous
the
game.
shock drop.
I pretty much made the camera like make me think I was inside the vehicle is what I'm thinking, and I was really outside, so I just like did like 5 or 6 shockwaves in a row because I made the camera at a really weird
Yeah,
angle.
I hadn't seen that before, but then again, I guess I'm not as. I guess my approach with Infamous is a little different.
Yeah, I was just like, great, game just came out, already made an awesome move with it. I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to do it again, but you know,
And then we have that guy stuck on top of the tree.
yep. And then he fell 2 inches and died.
That was glorious.
He's like, oh my god, I'm on a tree fall dead.
Really random, but really funny. We were going to see if we could post that on Facebook, but unfortunately, my PS4 did not capture that footage. I don't know why,
Yeah,
but
I wish it
oh.
captured the shockwave footage as well. Would have made it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what else. The touchpad gets used quite a bit. I do like how it's implemented. It is, I guess, a little gimmicky, but at least that thing gets use.
Hmm.
And quite frankly, I actually I think I prefer using the touchpad to recharge powers.
Well, it's so much closer,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have to
You see,
move your finger off of the like your aim down sights from one,
mm-hmm.
and then you could keep it there, and then just move your thumb.
Yep.
So it's much more streamlined.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. Let's see here. And also for getting new powers after you acquire a new one, you get these things called core relays. They're essentially what the blast cores were in Infamous 2.
oh, okay.
So you find them all over the place, you absorb them, Delson hovers in the air for a little bit, and then you get a vision of the new power.
You get a vision.
Yes, you get a vision.
More psychedelic drugs.
Hmm. The power sets are also unique in that they don't always have homologs between them. For example, hitting L1, if you either have smoke or neon, have Delson toss a grenade. If you use it in video, if you press L1 when you're using video though, you turn invisible.
Yeah. It's also important to note that the upgrade system's a lot different.
Oh yeah, the upgrade trees. I think that was mainly because you actually have multiple powers now.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get experience anymore. You just upgrade it, kind of like how you did in 2, but that was
Mm.
side missions.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can kind of pick and choose what you want.
There's still blast shards, but they don't expand your meter. You spend blast shards as currency to upgrade your powers directly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a step in the right direction because getting XP is a little bit of a pain in the first two Infamous games.
Well, I mean, it was just grinding.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to get the level 3 bolt for the Infamous playthrough, and that's 12,000 XP, so that's gonna take one hell of a long time. I'd much rather just spend 10 shards on that kind of thing instead of having to beat the same things up 100 times just to get that much XP.
Yeah.
So definitely step in the right direction. Way to go, Sucker Punch.
Um, was do you think there's just like the same amount of blast shards that there was in like 1 or 2 as compared to this game? Because it seemed, well, when we were playing it, they were really spaced out really far.
I'd say that there are less blast shards, but then again, they're kind of all mapped out for you once
Yeah.
you clear an area.
Hmm.
So yeah, you don't have to hunt for them as much. I mean, you don't have to click L3 and then sound out a
Spam
beep.
the wave button, yes.
Yeah, you don't have to do that anymore. So another step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that about wraps it up for powers. If
Yeah.
anything, I guess one last thought I have about that is just how melee works.
Yeah.
Um, I'd argue that the strongest melee attack is from concrete.
Yeah, but it's the slowest.
Yes.
It's like it takes a little while to wind it up.
Hmm. And I've noticed that with both smoke and neon, I have to hit mooks 3 times with melee attacks in order to take them down. But with video, I only have to hit them twice with melee attacks. Because then again, that's kind of because Delson essentially spawns a claymore sword using his chain and then
Yeah.
whacks them. So again, with balancing, I think they did a really good job. Smoke and neon attack, their melee attacks are relatively quick, but they take 3 hits. And with video, it's pretty slow, but it hits really damn hard. So I did like that. They did a
Yeah.
very good job balancing.
How do you think the karma choices were they good or was it some questionable?
They were pretty obvious.
Okay.
Because I mean, one was highlighted in red, one was highlighted in blue, so you couldn't really go wrong.
No, I mean like the situations in which they like enacted them. Like were the choices like very obvious like, "Hey, this is good," or were some of them kind of like questionably good or
They were pretty clear cut,
okay.
and I think that's what Sucker Punch was going for.
Yeah.
I guess moving on. Oh wait, no, the karma system. In Infamous 1 and 2, there were 3 levels per side. So like in Infamous 1, there was for hero, guardian, champion, hero, and for evil there was thug, outlaw, infamous. For Second Son, there are actually 5 karmic levels per side, from what I can see. Um, seeing that I went through a good playthrough, I'm pretty sure in order they're Protector, Guardian, Champion, Paragon, True Hero. And the symbol on Delson's back, the bird, it changes as you progress through that.
Yeah, which is nice. And you can also, I guess, collect different jackets and just change the aesthetic look. They don't have any like game in-game effect as far as
Hmm.
we know so far.
Yeah, they're purely aesthetic. I've yet to unlock Cole's jacket, but that'll be nice once I do.
Yeah.
And for, well, I guess it would have been a nice homage to have electrical powers again,
Yeah.
but
Wonder if they'll give you it for the Cole's legacy, or maybe discover something about what happened after.
I guess maybe.
Does it close the gap pretty well between like
I
two
have
and now?
I haven't played it yet,
Oh,
so
I was just gonna say
more
like
on
in the
that.
main part of the game.
Yeah,
Did they really explain anything or?
kind of. Um, well, at the end of Infamous 2, since Cole activated the RFI, most of the conduits in the world died, but not all of them.
Okay.
And I guess we should move on to the story. Um, Considering that I'd played Infamous 1 and 2, I kind of knew what to expect for Infamous Second Son, and I really liked what I saw. If I could describe the story of Infamous Second Son succinct, bleh. If I could describe the story of Infamous Second Son succinctly, I would describe it as the story of Infamous 1 done better. Because I think what really helped is that the way I think about it is that the story of Infamous 1 was presented more like a comic book, but the story of
Yeah.
Infamous Second Son was presented much more like a movie.
Yeah. Definitely seemed that way.
Hmm.
I mean, the art style was a little different. It was definitely more comic-like in the first one, and it seemed a little more realistic with Second Son.
Yeah, and kudos to the voice cast and their performances. They really brought this game to life. I mean, holy crap!
Yeah, I mean the lip movement was pretty is
Spot
pretty
on.
yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess most of the time it's like they're good, but it's not like perfect.
Mm.
I mean, like the first time I think I saw that was kind of like with LA Noir.
Hmm.
So
Yep. So at least they don't seem stiff like Infamous 1.
yeah, those were kind of stiff.
Yeah, Infamous 2 did a better job, but at the same time, Infamous Second Son is definitely the best looking Infamous game so far. But then again, PS4, so that's kind of a given.
So out of the three, which one do you think plays the best?
Uh,
Game breaking aside.
let's see here. I think what Infamous Second Son does well is I think it takes the elements of the first two Infamous games that worked really well and then puts them together into one game.
Okay.
So for Infamous 1, the story was pretty good, but the gameplay could have used polishing.
Mm-hmm.
In Infamous 2, I think I preferred the powers there and the gameplay, but the story kind of took a back seat. I didn't really care about the characters at that point. Just,
Yeah.
oh, good or evil, fire or ice. Okay.
Yeah.
So in this, they pretty much took the gravity of Infamous 1's story, combined that with the gameplay from Infamous 2, and then we got an Infamous Second Son. And I'm not saying that it's too similar to those games. Infamous Second Son it does enough things different to make itself stand on, but to make itself stand on its own, pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay. Graphically speaking, this game is gorgeous.
Yes, it is.
Seattle. I kind of want to visit Seattle now, actually.
You want to visit some of the restaurants named after certain character?
Oh yeah, I mean we'll get to the game eventually, but we'll try to show off this one Vietnamese restaurant. It's called Infamous.
Ha ha ha. Wait,
Oh,
wasn't
man.
there Cole McGee's?
Yeah, Cole McGee's Electronics, Cooper and McGrath Bank,
Yeah.
and all those TVs. Oh man, we'll get to that game eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean graphically speaking, this game looks really good. Comparing it to Ground Zeroes though, to me it does stand out that Second Son is 30 frames per second because it just seems just a bit choppier compared to Ground Zeroes. I mean, Ground Zeroes is smooth as butter, man. Ugh.
I mean, graphically speaking, frame rate aside, the best three games so far on the PlayStation 4 got to be Infamous Second Son.
Mhm.
Killzone Shadowfall was pretty good, like aesthetically looking.
Mhm.
Plot wise,
Yeah.
and then Ground Zeroes. Those top three for best graphics so far on the system.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, you can actually see raindrops hitting the ground in Second Son. You can actually see the ripples as raindrops hit the puddles.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah, really nice touch. I'd say that Second Son does a good job with lighting, but not as good a job as Ground Zeroes does.
That Ground Zeroes is like perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I guess it kind of depends on like what you're like focusing on, I guess.
Hmm.
Because I mean, with with like Phantom Pain, they're gonna go like all out with
Oh
this.
yeah.
So,
Hmm.
I mean, after a while, they're just like, what else can we improve to make us stand out?
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of which, I have heard news floating around that Ground Zeroes may release as early 2015. So
you
that'll
mean
actually
Phantom
be really
Pain?
nice. Yeah, Fountain Pain. Sorry.
It's alright.
Yep, getting my games
Ground
mixed
Zeroes
up.
Part 2.
The main game. But yeah, Second Son does a really good job of taking what worked in previous Infamous games and then putting them together.
And it also creates a nice like flow of gameplay because you choose what power you want, and it's really easy to switch in between
You
the
just need to
two.
find the power.
Yeah, there's sources all over the city.
hmm
So,
I think Concrete is the only one that you'd kind of have trouble finding because you need to defeat DUP agents in order to get it.
I guess, yeah.
hmm
So,
Yep. Let's see here. What else? So we talked about the story, the graphics, the gameplay. The soundtrack was okay. To me, nothing outstanding, but still pretty good.
yeah, the background seemed to have really nice tones, and it was a nice touch when you were injured that the music would get um
Tenser, I
a
guess.
little tenser and a little bit quieter, and
hmm
then it would liven back up as soon as you got back to full health.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you can go back to full health by just draining any power, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I guess another comment about the karmic system is that pretty much once you choose a path, you're kind of stuck there. Because I did notice that there were certain options in the game where you could do either an evil mission or a good mission. I walked over to the evil mission and it wouldn't let me do it because it said I need to have evil karma to do it. So, I guess the progression of the plot is a little more locked in this time, so you can't really switch in the middle. It's a lot harder to switch in the middle right now.
Yeah.
Because once you're on the good path, you're essentially compelled to do everything else good.
Hmm.
So for those of you who are kind of wondering if you can kind of just do progress through the story willy nilly, not really. Once you choose a path, you kind of have to stick to it. If you want to switch, you have to do it early on.
Well, I guess it'd be hard to do a truly neutral run then.
Yeah, because that's kind of been true with all Infamous games, because you don't really
Yeah.
get as strong as you can without going all the way on one side of the karmic
Yeah,
scale.
definitely.
hmm But yeah, also with the graphics, when you first start out as Delson, the two birds, there's one half the white bird, one half the red bird. Let's see here, if I remember correctly, for level one the symbol just tilts really.
Yeah, it's a tilt for the first one, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
and then on the second one, whatever side you're on, that gets a little bigger. The side you're not on gets a little smaller. For level 3, the bigger bird is actively attacking the smaller bird. For 4, the body of the smaller bird is no longer there. It's just the feathers, and the bigger bird is more or less dominating the jacket. And then for level 5, there's no sign of the smaller bird at all. Quite frankly, I think Hero Delson looks pretty nice in white in that vest.
Yeah.
hmm yeah. So I guess that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. It plays really well. It's definitely an improvement over Infamous. I guess there were one or two missions that kind of annoyed me, but I think it was more of my fault and less of the game's.
Yeah. I guess it gives you a reason to go buy a PlayStation 4.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if you're not like a super duper Metal Gear Solid fan, but
hmm
it gives you like a good exclusive title that gives you a reason
hmm
to play on the
Yeah.
PlayStation 4.
And I'm sure that enough people will be looking for a PS4 as an Xbox once Arkham Knight comes out.
Oh, yes.
I'm definitely looking forward to the next PS4 patch. We don't know when that's coming out, but apparently Sony's now going to focus on making it so that you can actually capture PS4 footage using external devices, which is something that we've been waiting for a
Thank
while.
you.
Yeah. Who knows? He might even do a playthrough of Knack for
Knack.
Knack. Maybe. I'm still trying to slog my way through that game.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. Any concluding thoughts?
Well, I guess it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully, we'll see another more installments from Sucker Punch further down the road in
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation 4's life cycle of this caliber, if not better. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so yeah, keep up the good work.
Yeah, definitely. As I said before, great graphics. Good story for an infamous game. Great gameplay. Decent soundtrack. If you're a PS4 owner and you don't have this game yet, what's wrong with you? Go out and get it. And yeah, let's see here. I'll need to tackle Infamous 2 before I start recording footage for Second Son. But I am really looking forward to this LP.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Otherwise, I'm Joshua,
I'm Jacob.
and these are those three guys minus one signing off.